Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. You know, when the NFL season started so many months ago, a lot of people thought the AFC was relatively wide open. Someone like the Chiefs could win it. Maybe the Bills. Maybe the Patriots would get back. Maybe even the Ravens with Lamar Jackson. But nobody saw the Cincinnati Bengals making the AFC Championship. A team that was dealing with a quarterback coming off an ACL injury. A team that had not won a playoff game since the 90s. Yet here we are, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game this Sunday. The Bengals one win away from making their first Super Bowl since 1989. The Chiefs one win away from making their third straight Super Bowl. Guys, the stakes could not be any higher, and today we're here to break down everything you need to know for this AFC Championship game and who we have representing the AFC in Super Bowl 56. So guys, again, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We're so glad you could join us today, breaking down everything you need to know between the Bengals and the Chiefs. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. That is how our channel continues to grow. That is how we continue to bring you some of the best college football and now a little bit of NFL analysis in the country. So make sure to do that and check out everything down in the description below, guys, as well, because we have year-round offers down there and year-round exclusive content down in the description that you will not be able to get anywhere else. So make sure to go give that a look. Whether it's now or at the end of the video, make sure to do that because that continues to help you, which in turn helps us. So we're going to take a little bit of a closer look at Cincinnati and Kansas City, the Bengals and the Chiefs here. Again, like we mentioned, the Bengals are the ultimate Cinderella story. This is a team that no one really had pegged to make the AFC Championship. Some didn't even have them pegged to make the playoffs. Yet here they are, 10-7 on the year, at least in the regular season, beating the Raiders in the opening round of the playoffs and then taking down the number 1 seed Tennessee Titans just last week in thrilling fashion. Again, this is a team, guys, that has not been to the Super Bowl since 1989. They're one win away from accomplishing that now. I think everybody across the country is actually rooting for the Bengals unless you're maybe a Kansas City Chiefs fan. But you look at the Chiefs, guys, they are looking to make a dynasty of their own. In a way, they already have. They're in their 4th straight AFC Championship. They're looking to make their 3rd straight Super Bowl appearance 2 years ago, going and taking down the 49ers. Last year, going and falling to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They beat the Steelers easily this year in the opening round and then had one of the best maybe NFL playoff games in history, taking down the Bills 42-36 in overtime just last week. It should be mentioned, guys, that the Bengals and the Chiefs actually did meet each other earlier in the year. It wasn't too long ago that the Chiefs and Bengals played each other. Cincinnati winning that game 34-31 in Week 17, kicking a field goal as time expired. It's an instant classic, one of the better games of the year, at least in the regular season. And I think we're going to be in store for another instant classic in Kansas City this Sunday. So we take a look at the offense. We'll start with the Bengals, the road team here, the 4 seed going up against the 2 seed. And you look at the Bengals, guys, the legend of Joe Burrow is alive and well. He made a name for himself in his final year of college at LSU, leading one of the most prolific offenses that college football has ever seen, winning the national championship, comes into the league as the quarterback for the Bengals, but tore his ACL, got hurt last year in his rookie season. So the million-dollar question was, how would Joe Burrow respond? And also, how would Cincinnati address the draft? All the way back in April, how would they address the draft to protect Joe Burrow or get him some weapons to continue to help him make him the face of this franchise? Well, they addressed it in a big way by drafting Jamar Chase. Now, the million-dollar question was, do they draft offensive linemen or do they draft Jamar Chase, who Burrow played with at LSU? They decided to go with chemistry, and it's paid off. Burrow has thrown for over 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, and just 14 interceptions. The offense is averaging over 27 points per game, nearly 285 passing yards per game. And Jamar Chase is without a doubt the undisputed Rookie of the Year in the NFL. 1,455 reception yards, 13 reception touchdowns. Again, so far in the playoffs, he has 116 reception yards versus the Raiders, 109 reception yards versus the Titans. And it's hard to believe that back in the preseason, people were saying that Jamar Chase could be a bust because of all the drops he was having. So many drops in practice, so many drops in the preseason, yet here he is against the best of the best, lighting up these defenses. Not to mention that Burrow and the Bengals still have T. Higgins. They still have Tyler Boyd. This offense is not devoid of talent. They're not devoid of speed. They have what it takes to hang with Kansas City. We saw that back in Week 17. You're going to see that again now on Sunday. But when you look at the Chiefs, when you think of Kansas City, who do you think of? You think of Patrick Mahomes. Guy who's thrown for over 4,800 yards, 37 touchdowns, to just 13 interceptions, and someone consider that a down year for Mahomes in his very young career. He still leads an offense, guys, that's averaging over 290 passing yards per game, and if you thought the Bengals had talent, the Chiefs have an all-star team. I mean, when you look at who they have, it's kind of unfair. You've got Tyreek Hill, over 1,200 reception yards, 9 touchdowns. The breakaway speed can take a little bubble screen, take it 80 yards to the house. Can get behind the defense like that. You've got Travis Kelce, arguably the best tight end in the NFL right now. You've got Demarcus Robinson. You've got Byron Pringle. Guys that continue to step up, not just throughout the regular season, but especially in the playoffs so far. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is in at running back, a threat not just on the ground, but in the passing game. There is so much talent on this Chiefs team that it's really hard to believe that there are some defenses out there that can slow them down. It's really amazing when you can kind of contain this Chiefs team and hold them to even 31 like the Bengals did back in Week 17. So once again, this is going to pose a very difficult test for Cincinnati. This is not going to be obviously an easy game for them. And this is going to be a game where Cincinnati, if they want to win this game, if they want to get to their first Super Bowl since 1989, they have to rely on their defense, because I do believe their offense can hang. Well, when you look at the defense for Cincinnati, let's look at the numbers from the first meeting. That might not mean much to some, but it's good to have a little bit of a comparison. In that first meeting back in Cincinnati, the Bengals allowed 414 yards to the Chiefs. Relatively speaking, that's not that bad, especially when you consider they held Patrick Mahomes to 259 passing yards. The defense led up some big plays early, got down 14-0, but were able to string together a handful of stops to allow their offense to get them back in the game and then ultimately win it at the buzzer. The thing is, the Bengals cannot allow themselves to get down early again in this game. Arrowhead Stadium is a completely different setting and atmosphere than Cincinnati. The Bengals are now going on the road. They had the benefit of playing at home the last time they played the Chiefs. Arrowhead Stadium, one of the most difficult places to play in the NFL. Some would say the most difficult place to play in the NFL. If you get down 14-0, 17-0, something like that, you get down double digits early, super early, it's going to be hard for Joe Burrow and his young Bengals team that is going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come after seeing how much potential they've had this year. It's going to be very difficult for them to crawl back out of that hole and make it a game, just like they did back in Week 17. So that's going to be the key, is to contain Patrick Mahomes. I don't expect the Chiefs to have too much success on the ground, but obviously don't let yourself get down early. And 7-0, not a big deal, but double digits. Don't allow yourself to get down double digits early. The thing is, guys, the Bengals still have a relatively solid defense. Allowed 17.5 points per game this year, not bad. Last week against Tennessee, on the road, number 1 seed, forced 3 interceptions, held the Titans to 353 total yards, held Derrick Henry to just 62 yards. So the talent defensively is there for the Bengals. If they can turn in a defensive performance that they had last week, they absolutely have a shot to win this game. When you look at the Chiefs, their defense has been horrendous this year. All the more reason that the Bengals have a legitimate chance on Sunday, because the Bengals, as we mentioned, they have the offense to hang with Kansas City. The Bengals have the offense to exploit Kansas City, a defense that's giving up 28.5 points per game, a defense that's giving up 272 passing yards per game, which obviously is what the Bengals want to do with a great quarterback in Burrow and the Rookie of the Year in Jamar Chase. The Chiefs allowed 446 yards and 4 touchdowns to Joe Burrow in that first meeting. I think he had like 9 incompletions. He couldn't miss, and the Chiefs couldn't stop him. Jamar Chase had 266 reception yards and 3 touchdowns in that first meeting. Last week, the Chiefs allowed 329 yards and 4 touchdowns to Josh Allen and the Bills' passing attack. So the question is, where's the secondary? Where is the secondary for Kansas City? Because you're facing one of the better passing attacks in the league right now. If the secondary is still gone, MIA, then Joe Burrow is going to line them up again, just like he did back in Week 17. What's going to save the Chiefs, though, and what could ultimately be the difference maker in this game is their pass rush. We knew last year that the Bengals had a horrendous offensive line. That's why it was such a big question going into the draft. Would they draft an offensive lineman to help protect Joe Burrow, a guy who had just torn his ACL, or were they going to draft some big offensive playmaker? They decided to go with the playmaker, and it has paid off for them. But last week, the Bengals gave up 9 sacks, a record 9 sacks to Tennessee in the divisional round win. 9 sacks. That's not going to work at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs have the talent and the veteran leadership and experience to exploit this young Bengals team to create pressure on a young quarterback in Joe Burrow. Where if you force a second or third and long situation, I wouldn't bank on the Bengals picking those up like they were able to do against the Raiders, like they were able to do against the Titans. The pass rush is going to be key for the Chiefs. If they can exploit that offensive line, just like the Titans did last week, it might be a long, long day for the Bengals. So ultimately, that's the key. I don't expect the Chiefs secondary to play well. I expect Joe Burrow to put up big numbers. But it's a matter of where is he playing from? How long is the distance to the first down marker? Where are they on the field? The Chiefs have to find a way to create pressure on him. And judging by the look of Cincinnati's offensive line, I wouldn't say it would be that difficult. So what is going to happen in this AFC Championship, guys? Again, a spot in the Super Bowl on the line. The Bengals looking to make it there for the first time since 1989. The Chiefs looking to make their 3rd straight Super Bowl. Again, trying to make themselves a dynasty, just like we saw really for the Patriots for most of the last 2 decades, for the Cowboys back in the 90s, for the 49ers back in the 80s. Could the Chiefs be that next big dynasty? You could start talking about that if they win this game. And back in Week 17, I said this was an instant classic. The Bengals getting the best of the Chiefs at the buzzer. I think we were in for a very similar matchup, a back-and-forth offensive showdown where ultimately one defense is going to have to step up and make a play. And I believe that defense is going to be the Chiefs. I believe that the Chiefs will ultimately win this game. Arrowhead Stadium, guys, is, to me, too tough. The Bengals, give them all the credit in the world, they have exactly what it takes to take down Kansas City. They do. But they beat them a couple weeks ago on their home turf. I don't think they have enough for what it takes to win at Arrowhead, where even some of the better teams and some of the more veteran teams cannot come away with a victory. So I see this game being a high-scoring offensive shootout. It could be very similar to that Chiefs-Bills classic that we saw just last week. But the Chiefs, ultimately, with their veteran leadership and with the home crowd on their side, will do just enough to take down this young and promising Bengals team. The Chiefs will be heading to their 3rd straight Super Bowl, where they will either have a rematch against the 49ers, the team they beat 2 years ago, or where they will face another high-octane offense in Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, and the Rams. We will have that prediction out for you tomorrow, but we are predicting the Kansas City Chiefs to once again return to the Super Bowl. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. Again, so much exclusive content there for you guys that not only helps you, but it helps us. So make sure to go give that a look. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.